Hello. Today we're talking solving by substitution. This is another way to handle systems of equations, which is kind of what we've been doing before this point. We've been graphing them. Today we're going to do it without graphing. Solving by substitution, it isn't hard, but there are a lot of steps. I've went ahead and just written out the steps to the right, and they read, the first step is to get x or y by itself in one equation. The next step is to plug it into the other equation. The third step, solve for the other letter. That sounds more complicated than what I mean. I mean, if you plugged in the y, you've got to solve for the x. Or if you plugged in the x, you've got to solve for the y. Number 4, use your answer to find both letters. Number 5, write as an ordered pair. So let's go ahead and try. This is number 1 from the homework. It reads negative 7x minus 6y equals negative 18. And y equals 3x minus 22. So the first step is to get x or y by itself in one equation. Notice we already have that done because right here, this is solved for y. All right. Next step, plug it into the other equation. Since this is the same as this, we can just replace that y with this. So let's go ahead and write that out. Negative 7x minus 6, 3x minus 22 equals negative 18. Remember, since these are related equations, the y's are the same, meaning the y right here is the same as this y. And since the lower y in the second equation is the same as 3x minus 22, we can replace it into the other equation. Let's go ahead and just finish solving. So we get negative 7x, oops, it went away, minus 18x plus 132 equals 18 negative. Okay. Combine like terms, we get 25x equals actually plus 132 equals negative 18. We subtract over the 132. We get 25x. Oh, that's a negative. Forgot that negative. Equals negative 150. Divided by negative 25. We get x equals 6. Okay. So now that we have what x equals, we're not quite done. We have to plug it into the y equation to give us the y. I'm going to switch colors. We have y equals 3x minus 22, which is the same thing as y equals 3 times 6 minus 22, which is the same as negative 4. I could have plugged the x value in for the top equation. However, that's just a little bit more work. So I chose to pick the lower equation. All right. I'm going to go ahead and do another example. So I'm just going to erase out all this stuff for a minute. It takes me a while. I think if I loop this around and then go erase. Oh, that didn't do it. Oh well, we'll just keep going with what I know. So keep in mind, a system of equations are two related equations. Sometimes you'll see them with a fancy bracket. I'll make sure to write the fancy bracket so you can see it. It means the exact same thing as what the other one means, but it just has a fancy bracket on it. So we're going to do number 16 now from the homework. That is negative 2x minus 2y equals 6, and negative 6x plus 8y equals 12. Note that I did include the fancy bracket next to them. That just means they're related equations. You don't have to write it, I guess. The homework program I use doesn't put them in. They're fairly standard. All right, you'll notice in this case, we don't have x or y solved already. Now you can do the problem with any one of the variables solving for them. However, some variables are going to be easier or harder than other ones. And I believe let's keep the problem as simple as possible. P.S. I miswrote, it's plus 2y, not minus 2y. Just a quick fix. All right. If I'm looking at the bottom equation, and I'm thinking to myself, if I were to try to solve for x or y, I would get fractions. Now we can do the problem with fractions, it's just not as easy. I'm looking at the top equation, and I'm noticing that we have something, if we divided each of these numbers by 2, we'll get negative x plus y equals 3. Hey, since we already divided, we're not going to get fractions. Let's use this equation to plug into the other one. I'm specifically just going to add x to get y equals 3 plus x. That's just, it works a little simple. I believe in keeping the problems as simple as possible. You'll also note that when you're doing problems I give you, you'll get whole numbers for these, for your answers. If you're not, that probably means there's some math thing that's going wrong. Let's go ahead and plug it in. We have negative 6x plus 8. We're replacing y with 3 plus x equals 12. Okay, we just go ahead and solve. I'll kind of just do that really quick because I don't think this is the part you'll have trouble with setting it up. Negative 6x plus 24 equals, plus 8x equals 12. Negative 6x plus 8x is 2x plus 24 equals 12. Subtract 24, divide by 2. We get x equals negative 6, which we can then plug into this equation to get y equals 3 minus 6, which gives us y equals negative 3. Last step, write as an ordered pair. So negative 6, negative 3 is our answer. I'm going to add in one last step to these steps really quick. I'm going to say an unofficial 6th step. Check your answer with technology. Just plug it into Desmos or your calculator and just make sure that you're on the right track. Other than that, let me know if you have any questions.